Part 2. 3 Steps to Using the Law of Attraction. Overview. What follows in the next 3 parts are the meat of the book, and is an exposition on the 3 steps you need to take to make the law work for you. Starting with step 1, which is be clear about what you want. Before we get into it further, here's a few guidelines on using the 3 steps. Make sure you follow them, don't skip any. Take as long as you want with each step, just don't skip any step. Ideally, you should master each step before moving on to the next one. Now, let's get started with step 1. Step number 1. Be clear about what you want. Even if you don't adopt the law of attraction, or even if you're clueless regarding this concept, if you're unclear about what you want in life, it should be no surprise why you're frustrated. Seriously. You shouldn't be shocked that you can't seem to achieve any of your dreams because you're unclear what those dreams are in the first place. Believe it or not, most people fail because they are unclear about what they really want. They think they know what they want, but they don't. They end up fuzzy thinking, which leads to unfocused action. They move with no certainty. They take action with no intense focus. And this leads to a very predictable series of frustrations or outright failures. Oftentimes, people are unclear because they're simply trying to live other people's lives. Your parents might have all these big plans for you, but those might not be the things that you want to do with your life. I can't even imagine how many lives are ruined when people try to live other people's lives for them. Other people desire certain things precisely because people they respect and admire desire those same things. Well, we are all different people. Just because people that you like want a big house and 5 cars in the suburb doesn't necessarily mean that that's the ideal lifestyle for you. Maybe your values are different, maybe you look at the world differently, maybe you prefer being a very educated, experienced and well-traveled person. This doesn't necessarily mean living in a big house, having many cars or having a lot of possessions. Your wealth is mostly internal. Different people, different values. Unfortunately, if we desire things because of peer pressure, or we feel that we want certain things because this is what is expected of us, it's very easy for us to live unfocused lives. We just go through the motions. We just follow some sort of preset path. We're not exactly clear why we're doing it, but we're going through the process. This is a surefire way to live a life of frustration at some level or another. You need clarity. Thankfully, there are 3 simple steps to make this happen. The 3 steps to clarity. First, you need to ask yourself how bad you want what you think you want. Do you really want that big house? Do you really want those 5 cars? Do you really want to travel the world every 2 years? If you think the answer is yes, then wrap your mind around these questions. What will you give up to make those things happen? How hard will you work? How long will you go for it? These are important questions that you need to ask yourself because they go a long way in determining whether you are just going along with what other people want for you, or what you think other people desire, or there's really something about what you desire. Maybe it really speaks to your innermost values and needs, but you wouldn't know for sure until you ask yourself these questions. The next step is to subject your idea of what you want to the journalist's 6 key questions. What do journalists normally ask when they come across a story? Well, they ask who, what, where, when, why, and how. You should do the same with the things that you think you desire in life. Who is it for? Who is the ultimate beneficiary? Who is involved? What is it really? Does it change over time? Is it complete? Does it go through a process? What parts makes it up? Where do you need to go? Where does it take place? Where did the idea come from? When will it happen? What kind of steps do you have to go through to make the big things happen? Why are you doing this? What isn't in it that motivates you? It is sustainable? Does it speak to a deep and profound personal truth? How do you go about doing it? What kind of resources do you need? Ask yourself these questions for starters. There are many others related to these questions. The more questions you ask, the clearer it becomes. Any hesitation on your part becomes apparent. If you are in any way, shape, or form fussy about the things that you desire, well, it will come up if you ask yourself these questions. Of course, you have to honestly ask this. You can't just go through the motions. Finally, you have to ask yourself, can you visualize what you want completely? This is crucial. If you want to be clear about what you desire, you must be able to visualize it as a total package. There must be no missing details. It can be shallow and it can be a broad outline. It has to be complete. It has to have some sort of internal integrity. If you're able to do this, congratulations, because most people are not able to do this. Why? Most people are just daydreaming. They have a nice vision of the future, complete with a range of positive emotions. The reason why people daydream is not because they are planning for the future. Instead, they want to achieve some sort of emotional state. For example, if you have been unemployed for 6 months and money's running tight, you can easily fall into the trap of daydreaming about being in a business suit, getting a lot of respect, and spending a lot of time at that corner office. But that daydream is worthless because you're doing it only to get that range of comforting emotions that enables you to get out from under the pressure you're in now. You're under a lot of pressure to find a job, put food on the table, or pay the rent. When you daydream, it feels like all of these troubles are gone because you get that glimmer of power, satisfaction, and a sense of completion because you imagine yourself in that corner office being at the top of the corporate chain. This is not enough. The positive emotions that you get when you are daydreaming are very powerful indeed, but they are not enough. This is not the kind of visualization you should do to clarify your personal vision, so you can make it happen in your life through the law of attraction. You have to do something else. It's not completely different, but it's different enough. Be like Michael Phelps. I know that's a tall order, but hear me out. Michael Phelps, of course, is the greatest Olympic gold medal winner of all time. He has won the most gold medals in the Olympic. No small feat. Talk about amazing discipline. Talk about amazing personal power. When asked about his secret to success, he was pretty straightforward. He said that he has this technique where he would play a mental movie of him winning each and every swim meet. When pressed, he said, and was pretty straightforward, I would play this imaginary DVD of me jumping into the pool and, stroke after stroke, I would play that image until I feel like I'm almost there. And then I would essentially act out that movie when it's time for me to perform. When you are able to visualize with that much detail, you become very focused on an alternate reality. You then visualize where you start at the end, where you won the gold medal, got the amazing job, met the perfect member of the opposite sex that can be your future husband or wife, or found the perfect job or business opportunity. You visualize everything in clear, three-dimensional details. And then, here's the secret, you walk yourself from the end all the way to the beginning. In other words, you imagine yourself with a completely different life, in a completely different place, and then you rewind the DVD, so to speak, until you end up to where you are now. Then you play it forward again, and you keep repeating this over and over until you get a roadmap. That is the difference between the Michael Phelps type of mastery and unstoppable victory and simple daydreaming. Sadly, the vast majority of people would rather daydream because there is a quick and cheap emotional payoff. But all these positive emotions are not going to put food on your table. You definitely cannot eat them. Here are the steps that successful practitioners of the law of attraction use to turn their vision into a reality they can see, smell, taste, touch, and hear. Every day, they visualize their vision. They write it down, they read it, erase it, and write it down again. The next morning, they read their vision, visualize it, erase it, and write it down again. When you keep doing this, you start burning physical channels into your brain's neural complex. According to research studies, when people keep repeating the same thought over and over again, it actually creates physical connections in how their brains are wired. They're not just thinking about an idea. They're not just kicking around the concept in their minds. It actually has a physical effect on them. It actually changes the physiology of their brain. By living out that vision and walking yourself from the beginning to the end and all the way back again, and then erasing the vision and reciting it or writing it out from memory, you create those physical connections. And eventually, these physical connections have a profound impact on how you view reality, how you feel about the situations you found yourself in, what you choose to talk about out of habit, and your behavior. Let me tell you, the world doesn't care about your feelings. It couldn't care less. It doesn't have the luxury of time to indulge you in that. It also doesn't care about your intentions or what motivates you. Who cares? Hell, after all, is paved with all sorts of good intentions. But do you know what makes the world pay attention? When you actually do something. When you're clear with your vision, the law of attraction starts to work in your life because you now have a clearer map, and all the things that you need to be in place to take action are slowly beginning to change. The way you look at your reality, the way you connect the dots in your life, the way you feel about certain things in your life, all of these are happening. They may not be all that perceptible to you, but they are taking place.